Hello and welcome to Slightly Impressive Vlog every day in April. My name is Grifter and it's April 28th. Alright, today's Would You Rather is, would you rather be homeless or extremely famous? So, these are obviously opposite things, but both very bad in their own way, right? Like, I've talked before about how I would hate to be famous. Some people really want to be famous. Some people, actually work toward that and chase after it. But I think it's almost always like a really destructive thing, right? And I've talked before about how just feeling like everybody knows who you are and not being able to just go outside and just be yourself. And all these people feel like they know you. You know, I experienced a little bit of that with YouTube, and I would hate to experience that with, just everybody in person all the time, where people feel like they know you and they're a stranger to you. And, because there's kind of that disconnect, you know? It's the same with me, with celebrities. I feel like I know enough about people who are really famous that you feel like you kind of know them, but, you know, they have no idea who you are. And it's just a really strange feeling, and I would hate to feel that all the time with everyone. That would just be terrible. And I would feel, just trapped in that, right? Where, even if you're super rich and you can do whatever you want, you don't have to work or anything, you answer to nobody, it's just you're still just sort of trapped in this fame, and it's just, it would be terrible. And then, of course, being homeless would be terrible for completely different reasons. It's unsafe, you're outside all the time, you're out there in the elements, it's uncomfortable, you're probably not going to live as long. But some people actually choose to be homeless, and there are some things about it that are kind of alluring, right? Just the total freedom, just not having to be on anybody else's schedule, not having to pay bills, no one's telling you what to do or anything, as long as you're mostly obeying the laws or at least not getting caught, you're really just completely independent. But of course, not having any money ever, or not being out, I think the biggest thing about being homeless is I would get bored. That's the thing that keeps me from just wandering off and just being homeless, right? I would just get really bored. I would miss things like entertainment, just the things I do in my downtime, hobbies and things I wouldn't be able to do. Although, I did read an article recently about how homelessness is kind of changing. You have a few different kinds of homelessness, right? You have people who have just fallen on really hard times and they just don't have a home of their own. They're not able to pay rent or own a home anywhere, so they're just staying with friends or in homeless shelters or whatever and trying to get back on their feet. And then you have people who, just have mental issues and they're just not able to hold down a job and they just end up on the streets. And that's really the saddest case. And then you have people who choose to be homeless, who just choose to live in that hobo culture, right? And I read this thing about how, especially younger people who are choosing to live this way, or even if they're not, they have smartphones. And I've seen this too, homeless people around the city who will have phones, and I've always thought, well, that's kind of weird. You're begging for money for food, but you're paying a cell phone bill. But I mean, it makes sense, to have that as your one expense, where, I mean, because it's so useful to them, right? There's so many websites, and I wish I could remember what the article was. I don't remember where it was, but there's so many websites that help homeless people. They have communities online where they can share where good places to stay are or find food or whatever. So that was really interesting to me, and just that thought of people choosing to live that way, it is, like I said, it is kind of alluring, to just be free of everything, the total opposite of fame. I would feel so trapped being famous, and I think being just out on the road on your own all the time would be just really freeing, but also not really the way I want to live. So, and I read this short story by the guy who wrote Fight Club. I think it's actually part of the book he wrote, Haunted, where and I'd say his name, but I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like Chuck Palahniuk or some one of those words that people just say really low and quickly, so you won't notice that they said it wrong because nobody really knows how to say it. But the short story was about famous people who pretend to be homeless just to get away from their life for a while, and that's when they're happiest, is when they're out on their vacation on the streets. They pretend to be hobos. So that's what this question reminded me of. But yeah, if I'm gonna choose one or the other, I'm gonna choose homelessness. It would suck to be in danger all the time, to not know where you're going to sleep. I would have a lot of anxiety about being homeless. I'm not really cut out for that kind of lifestyle. But I would much rather have that than just the constant presence of fame, of just everybody knowing who you are and prying into your life, and just, that would be terrible. So, yeah, I choose homelessness. Let me know what you would choose. And is there are two left? There are two left. If you have one you think is worthy of being one of the last two for this year, or I probably won't do this same thing next year. But anyway, leave that in the comments below. You know what I'm saying. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.